What if you shattered your phone, utterly broke it beyond repair, and your first thought wasn't, I need a case, but I still don't need a case? It sounds a little crazy, doesn't it? But stick with me. You know that gut-wrenching feeling when your phone slips? That slow-motion panic as it arcs towards the unforgiving concrete? Well, that was my reality, not once, but 3 times in a few short weeks. My Pixel 7, which had served me faithfully, finally succumbed. The last drop was the killer, straight from my pocket, caseless, onto hard pavement. Game over. The screen went dark, and it never turned on again. You might imagine that after such a dramatic failure, I'd be rushing out to buy the thickest, most protective case known to humanity. But you would be wrong. And here's why. It's ironic, really. Just a few months ago, I actually wrote about how I've never used a proper phone case, and in all my years, I'd never seriously damaged a device. I guess I jinxed it. But even with a broken phone in my hand, I have zero regrets about my caseless philosophy. It's here to stay. Why am I so stubborn? Well, let's talk about the odds. I bought my first mobile phone 26 years ago, and my first smartphone 15 years ago. This Pixel 7 marks the very first time I've managed to seriously damage a phone. Sure, I've had a few minor drops over the years, but every device emerged with nothing more than a small scratch or two. I'm usually incredibly careful. Those few weeks when the Pixel met its end, they were just a rough patch for me, a period where I handled my phone with far less attention than usual. Consider it a lesson learned, but not one that dictates a permanent change in habit. The chances of that kind of sequence happening again anytime soon, based on my decades of experience, feel minimal. So, yes, my next phone will be caseless, without question. And let's be real for a moment. A case isn't some impenetrable force field. You can still damage your phone with one, especially if it lands face down on a sharp rock or the edge of a table. It's not a common scenario, but it proves cases aren't bulletproof. Plus, my Pixel 7 was already about 3 years old. You know how it goes. You don't baby an older device quite like a brand new one. Given its age, an upgrade was on the horizon anyway, so the shattered screen feels less like a tragedy and more like an accelerated timeline. Now, for the big reason I avoid cases. Phones today are gorgeous pieces of engineering. My Pixel 7 had this wonderful metal frame and a silky smooth glass back. It felt premium, substantial, just incredible in the hand. These components cost money for a reason. They are there for you to appreciate. Why would I then slap a cheap piece of plastic or silicone over all that carefully crafted design? It simply hides the very thing I paid for. People obsess over phone colors, then immediately cover them up. For me, a beautifully designed phone is like a piece of art. I enjoy looking at it, feeling it. And then there's the bulk. Modern smartphones are already big enough. Even a thin case adds noticeable bulk, making an already large device feel just that much more cumbersome. So what's next for me? Well, I recently decided I wouldn't spend more than $500 on my next phone, and I'm sticking to that. The Pixel 9a was my original pick because it hits my budget, covers all my needs, and skips the premium features I genuinely don't care about. But a little secret, the Pixel 9 is currently on sale, and it just sneaks into my budget too. I definitely prefer its design, especially that glass back, and it boasts a superior camera system. I also looked at the OnePlus 13R because I've always loved their super fast charging, but it's a bit too big for my taste and doesn't quite offer the overall package the Pixel does for my personal needs. The Galaxy S25 also caught my eye, but its price tag is still a bit out of reach. So, it looks like the Pixel 9 it is. And yes, it will also live its best life without a case. Could I ever change my mind? Breaking a 3-year-old phone I intended to replace anyway is one thing. But if I somehow manage to break or severely damage this new, pristine phone within just a few months, I might have to swallow my words. I feel confident in my ability to keep it safe from bumps and bruises, but if that confidence proves misplaced and a new accident happens, I'd probably admit defeat and finally buy a case. But honestly, I just don't think that's going to happen. Wish me luck. How about you? Have you ever taken the plunge and gone caseless, only to regret it? Or are you, like me, more careful than the average phone owner? Let us know.